Okay, so hopefully you've watched the first two videos that I've done on this professional finishing series. The first one on sizing, and then the next one on that T word that we all love so much. And then I've done some shorts as well, or I will be doing some shorts, so short videos of the details. The next bit I talk about in the professional finishing workshops is decreasing. So this is still not, we're not still in the sewing up stage. We're still in the preparation to sew up. So that's with this professional finishing, with the professional finishing and the look that we want to get. It's all about preparation. Preparing us to do the least amount of sewing up possible. Because what do we love doing? We love knitting. So we want to do as much knitting as we can, and therefore make the sewing up and the joining together less, but also more enjoyable. So the one thing that I do now, and I've started to write in my patterns, I didn't in the ones that I did like years ago, but I'm starting to do it now, is that I will tell you where to decrease your stitch at the end of the row. In a lot of my old patterns, and in a lot of patterns that you might come across, they will tell you to decrease one stitch at the beginning of a row. Now I realise here, I just randomly said that. They're not telling you to decrease a stitch at the end of a row all the way through. I'm talking about neck decreases and armhole decreases. So this is where in a pattern it will say for armholes, for example, on the back it will say decrease one stitch at the beginning and end of the next row, or at each end of the next row. Or for a neck decrease, depending which side it's on, it will tell you to decrease one stitch at the end or decrease one stitch at the beginning of the row. And that's where you get your armhole decreases and your neck decreases. What I am telling you to do to make picking up stitches, see, we're talking about decreasing, but everything that we do in knitting is about preparing for sewing up. So I'm talking about decreasing, but I'm preparing the way for picking up stitches. So we can knit something really easy, really enjoyable, make one tiny little change, and then make something which isn't enjoyable or wasn't enjoyable more enjoyable. So I have got a lot of information to tell you, and I need to organise this. So I feel like I've just sprayed a lot of information at you. So we're talking about decreasing. We're talking about where we decrease. So we don't do it right on the edge stitch. We do it one stitch in. Now, if you're still with me, you'll be asking the question, why? Or you might have just clicked off now and gone, oh, what? Why? And then not found out the reason why. And the reason why we do one stitch in, decrease that one stitch in from the edge, is to make picking up stitches beautiful, enjoyable, exciting. Because picking up stitches is fun. It is fun when you decrease one stitch in from the edge. And I will explain what I mean by that. And I have done videos to show you what I mean by that. So when you decrease one stitch in from the edge, you get a really nice edge going up, which makes picking up stitches good fun. As you would have seen on my previous videos, or watched on my previous videos, I have sewn up so many people's knitting, and I've sewn them up at a time when people did decrease one stitch in from the edge, and that is not enjoyable. Picking up stitches when you decrease one stitch in, when you decrease on that edge stitch, is not enjoyable at all. It's horrible. I am with you. And so when people say to me, I hate picking up stitches, it's never neat, I ask where they are decreasing their stitches, because if you don't do that one stitch in, it isn't neat and it is horrible. It's not enjoyable. You can't get a nice run up. You need that nice stitch at the edge. The other thing to do actually is to knit or purl, to work all those stitches in pattern, because if you slip the first stitch, which some people do, it doesn't create enough stitches to pick up. So if you've got like a wobbly edge, or you know, when you come to pick up the stitches, they suggest it's a wobbly edge, or actually it would be the other way, it'll be a tight edge, it's not lying flat. That will happen if you slip a stitch. There's also other reasons for that as well, but slipping the stitch doesn't give enough scope to pick up the right amount of stitches. So that's a simple thing then. To make picking up stitches, sewing together more enjoyable, decrease one stitch in from the edge. And it's different whether you're doing it at the beginning of the row or the end of the row. So at the end of a row, you knit to the last 3 stitches. Let me do this right. Knit 2 together, knit 1. So knit to the last 3 stitches, knit 2 together, knit 1. If you're doing it this side and you're doing it at the beginning of the row, you knit 1, slip 1, knit 1, pass slip stitch over. So that knit 1 that you've just done is your edge stitch, and then you do the decrease, which is slip 1, knit 1, pass slip stitch over. But it's also, if you're looking at American sites, there's an SSK, or you can knit 2 together through back of loop. When you knit 2 together, it's really nice and neat because you're pushing those 2 together. When you do the slip 1, knit 1, it's never as neat as a knit 2 together. So there's loads of solutions out there for how to get it neater. I have tried all the different variations, and yeah, I do like a slip 1, knit 1, pass slip stitch over. I just make sure I don't pull that slip stitch, so I slip it and knit 1, pass slip stitch over quite quickly and I don't pull that slip stitch, because that's when you get that big loop. But if you found something that works for you, go for it. Just know that this is knit 2 together this side, and this side is, you know, slip 1, knit 1, pass slip stitch over, or SSK, or knit 2 together through back of loop, whatever works for you. Then that will make, by doing that, that will make picking up these stitches here really nice and easy, as well as for when sewing things together. So this also, if you can see here, that is where the decrease has happened. So that's your decrease stitch, and then the other side of that is that knit 1 stitch. So because I've done the decrease stitch 1 stitch in, when I come to do the mattress stitch, you get a nice edge to sew up, and also it looks really nice in terms of shaping and then joining together. So it's a teeny tiny change. So if I had knitted those 2 stitches together at the end, you wouldn't have this nice neat edge coming up here. So it's just one teeny tiny change which just completely transforms how the knitting looks. And you still haven't come to the sewing up bit yet. That's the thing with the professional finishing, we're just planning and preparing, but we've not come to the actual sewing up yet, which once I show you how to do that, which if you've never tried the mattress stitch before, you'll just love it. But we haven't got there yet. We're just decreasing, we're still knitting, we're still enjoying the knitting, and we're preparing our knitting so that when we come to join it together, it will be so much fun.